Hello and welcome to Conversando a Fondo. For many, the entertainment industry is the ultimate dream, but what does it take to turn that ambition into a lifelong career? Today, we're pulling back the curtains with two seasoned professionals who have done exactly that. Please welcome Bryan Escudero, Senior Director of Production Operations for News and Entertainment at TelevisaUnivision, and Nicole Muñiz, an expert in marketing and sponsorships. And it's an honor to have you both. But before we start, I just want to say that before we dive in, I want to recognize the incredible crew behind the cameras today. We are being supported by the rising talent of Miami-Dade College, specifically Professor Billy Oliver's Television One class. They are at the helm of today's production. And who knows, perhaps our guests will leave today with a few names for their future roster. So welcome again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the entertainment business, we know it. I've been there, like I was telling you before, and it's rough. It's rough because the students don't understand. Here I have it easy. I have no ratings, so whatever people watch, they watch it. But being out there, I know that you have that, where shows last for a long time and shows last, maybe a couple of shows and then they're gone.
Yep.
So, but let's go back and you were telling me you began at Univision when?
I began in probably, I don't remember if it was 99 or 2000. I was working at a local Fox affiliate, and I got a call from someone that I worked with there who had moved over, and they were launching a new morning show. And he needed some help, and I was fairly new in the business, but he liked my work ethic. He brought me over, and I started with the local station for a show called Al Amanecer on Channel 23.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that time I had moved to the network already, so that's why I didn't meet you at that time.
Yep.
And Nicole, you also worked at Univision.
I did. I was at Univision for 10 years. I worked really closely with Bryan, and I started with a love for entertainment and music. That was where it all began, and I knew that I wanted to work in TV. And so my first job was actually at a talent agency where I fell in love with brands, and that led me to work in media on the ad sales side, which, believe it or not, a lot of people think, or like I heard somebody say, like it's tied a lot with like, does it require a lot of math? But in reality, it requires a lot of creativity and working very closely with the production team.
Yeah, because obviously your job, you're not working there anymore, but your job has to do with the entertainment, the sponsorships, marketing, and all this stuff. We were going to get into it.
In a little bit.
In a little. Billy was telling me that you were a student here at Miami-Dade College.
I was here Billy's first year. And
oh, wow.
Yeah, so that many moons ago. And I actually couldn't finish my degree here at Miami-Dade originally because, like a lot of immigrant families, we had to work. And so I had to leave school for a bit, came back, and then I eventually graduated from Miami-Dade. And then moved on throughout my career.
But I saw that you have a business major.
Yeah, so I did TV production here for a few years. I was telling Nicole on my way here, I was walking at the bus stop, and I was like, I used to have to take the bus here from Kendall.
Wow.
And with the great Miami-Dade transit system,
yeah, I know.
I would leave my house at 5:15 to be here for an 8:40 class.
Wow.
And so, those things of like just kind of just knuckle through, life. But yeah, so I started with Billy. He helped continue the love for TV, just someone that showed me niceness in a career. And I've run into a lot of very, very kind people in my way. It's a hard career, but there's amazing people that you meet along the way.
I know, and I tell people that sometimes, I had my saints at Univision, because when you're brand new, people tend to, oh, this guy doesn't know anything, But I was able to have people that, some of them have passed away, and I've been able to say thank you before they died. And because it's hard, as you know, and I work with your boss, whose father was my professor at FIU. And I told Bert Sr., I said, I know now why you were so tough on us, and I realize it's because the business is tough.
Yep.
So if you have a professor, okay, whatever. When you get to the real business,
Yeah.
either you cut it or you don't.
Yeah.
And and I loved it. I really loved it. In your case, you studied at FIU, no?
I started at FIU. I went then to a talent agency, like I had mentioned, and then actually I did a couple freelance jobs until I quit my job and moved to New York to pursue this further and started working in media there before I moved back down.
Oh, and knowing, your job is kind of weird because it's sponsorships to like there's a big show or something or a big concert, because we have Univision always producing those big events for the awards.
The award shows, yeah.
Okay, so that's something that you're related to?
Yes. So actually my role, I sat the last 7 years when we worked together, I sat actually on the production team. My role was really focused on servicing the sales side. So I was kind of like, I call it the punching bag, if you will, but it's just that you're sitting right in the middle, right? You're straddling both sides. I knew the ad sales side, then I was like really learning about the production side and how do I integrate brands in a way that's authentic for the audience, right? At the end of the day, I think what brands are looking for is to engage authentically with audiences, and the best way to do that is by working very closely with the production, who are the experts in understanding what is really captivating their attention. And so I had a lot of a creative role in understanding what works best, what does the brand want to accomplish, and how do I marry that with production and content for both of us to have the best success possible.
But they have to have like some kind of vision, because not all products are going to be for the same demographics.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's where either you have to know, like for that specific demographics, 18 to 35.
Correct.
That's what the advertisers are looking for. What can they use during that show? Because you're not going to, have a diapers commercial during.
Right, and their capacities are all different. Brands are all different, right? There's some brands that are more turnkey. There's brands that are really invested into their marketing. They do different things and they're more complex and they bring more to the table, right? So given that I was working more on the award show side, is identifying what parts of the awards within segments or spaces. Was it a music performance that they were going to sponsor, or was it just a segment that they were going to put their logo in, where they're going to do an interview, where they were going to bring a spokesperson and we were going to partner with a talent to be able to speak about the brand in a way that makes sense for our show. So it's really finding that sweet spot of what works for both parties and yields us the best success possible based on the needs, the budget of the brand, and what we are able to provide to them.
Yeah, and it's weird because Univision before, they didn't do that much sponsorship. When I was there, it was kind of off. Like you didn't have Pepsi, having a whole show, the Pepsi something. But later on, they saw that the need was there to have.
Yeah, the landscape changes, and like Nicole said, that we had to work together to do what was best for the brand, right?
Yeah.
The now TelevisaUnivision brand, back then the Univision brand. And it was always great to have a partner that my team truly felt we had a partner in Nicole who would listen to us, and so she's going to tell us, hey, this pink for this sponsor needs to be this specific thing. And we're going to sit there for 20, 30 minutes, an hour with the lighting directors and make sure that the LED is the exact color of pink that's needed.
Wow.
And you don't always get that. And so I genuinely appreciate it. And the people that follow in her footsteps, I think that she trained them well to understand that we are there as a partner. We're there to collaborate because the brands, right, the sponsor and TU, we need to be on the same page to ensure that we're going to
I didn't know there was so much work, but my time is up, so we're going to keep talking about that in the next segment. So, by the way, the School of Entertainment and Design Technology is your gateway to creative career. Whether your passion is film production, computer animation, graphic design, or the music business, we have the tools to help you succeed. Learn more at mdc.edu/SEDT or give us a call at 305-237-1696. We're taking a first break, and when we come back, we'll discuss what qualities are needed to succeed in the entertainment industry. We'll be right back.
En Miami-Dade College hay carreras en cualquier profesión. Del laboratorio a la realidad virtual. Donde nada es imposible. En Miami-Dade College, todos tus sueños se harán realidad.
Thank you for staying tuned. We're still joined by with Bryan Escudero and Nicole Muñiz. So we were talking about something I didn't know, that you have to have specific colors and stuff for the sponsors.
Right.
Yeah.
How hard is that to?
It can be tricky, very tricky, especially because, again, going back to the technical aspect of all of this, right? Like, there's very specific colors that are used for brands, and brands are very particular, and the ask is very specific. So that's where collaboration comes in, and just like maybe when I got onto set, Bryan's team showed me something, and I was like, "That looks great, guys," and we also need to tweak it because it's not exactly the color that they asked for. So there were tweaks that needed to be made. As you continue to work with partners and build relationships, I think we all already had the mindset of like, okay, this year they're coming back. We know what we need to adjust. We know where we need to get to, but there are very specific requirements that brands do require and ask for.
Yeah, logo. I mean, even the edges, right? So if your logo's here, the brands will say it needs to be, an inch away from the next logo. Like they're very careful in their branding, and she had to be very conscious of that. And then in working with her, us learning, we have to be conscious of that. Because we are one team.
Yeah. And talking about what you do, because VP of operations, what is your job and title? What that means?
So I like to say, we just kind of do whatever comes through the door. We talk about our team as being the hub in the company. We deal with marketing, sales, facilities, security, production, master control, legal. So our job is just right before the handoff of what goes on to the air, because the only stop after us is broadcast engineering, so the master control that's sending out. So we hire and we manage directors, lighting personnel, grips, audio operators, camera operators, stage hands, carpenters. We help with the sets being built. It's really a soup to nuts in studio, and we do that for sports, for entertainment, special events, news, and corporate events, and then whatever else gets thrown to us.
Let me tell you, it's funny because you remind me of something that happened to me. I think it was twice that happened to me during the show at Blablazo, which I was producing. And sometimes I like to, push that button. And sometimes I will get from standards and practice, oh no, you got to cut off that out of the show.
Yep.
So that happened because they had to be careful. Yep. And sometimes there are stupid things, like, these networks like Televisa, they don't want to talk about an artist or actor while they're in the soap, la telenovela. So we cannot even touch that subject. We have to wait until the actor is out of the novela.
Yeah.
So to me, it struck me like, wow. And sometimes, obviously, we're risque jokes that we use in the show, and we have to be careful.
But all of that stuff changes, right? So, I remember, 10, 12 years ago, before an election cycle, somebody took a picture of the set and posted it on their Instagram or whatever. And people were running down, like, you have to take down the set, you have to take down the set, we have to hide it, we have to reveal it on election night. And now it's not that, right? It's the teaser, they encourage you to put that stuff out there. So if there was an actor on a novela that they didn't want, back then it was very secret, right? Because we wanted to get your eyeballs when the show started. But now it's like, we need your eyeballs to be engaged early on, so that when the novela comes out, you're already engaged. You're going to want to see what that actor's doing.
Yeah, because, they say that they're going to break the magic, but actually, to me, it's like, you're talking about an actor that has different roles in different novelas. So, you see them in this novela, she's the poor girl. The next novela, she's the bad girl, So they have to understand that. But at that time, it was kind of the way it was, and we had to accept it. And obviously, when they tell you no, it's no. There's no if and buts. But you were saying about putting a picture on social media, and that's something that is where we are going. And a lot of people are afraid, especially people in the television industry, that we use more social media for everything that we do, and there's a parallel between what you guys do and
I don't even think it's a parallel anymore.
No?
Years ago, I made the mental switch where I was not working in TV. I'm a content creator, right? And so, and I tell people, we create content. The only difference now is the distribution points, right? Where I used to go through an antenna that went to a TV, my rabbit ears, and that's what I watched. And now I have a gajillion distribution points. It's your phone, it's my phone, it's wherever. And so as we're building out the content that is important for the audience, we have to really engage with them, and it's tricky. I tell people we still have to learn how to make TV less expensive, right? Because now it's not worth creating this big monster of a show that's going to get 500,000, 1 million views when the person's in their bedroom, just making whatever makeup video, and they're going to have 3 million followers.
Yeah.
And so it's certainly a transition that's happening. I was just at NAB, and everything was just, how do we make this thing less expensive? A lot of AI, for how to track these things, because now with you can create a video out of AI out of nothing.
And that was one of the questions I was going to have to you, because obviously AI, and there's even the actors are up, in arms because they say, oh, they're going to take our jobs. And so how do you deal with AI? Now, like you say, anybody, the director, the one who's directing now, he made a movie all AI for a contest.
Yep.
So now we have that. Anybody can make anything. And then our career, which I studied so many years ago, it's kind of not the same anymore. So how do you deal with the AI situation?
So you have any?
You can.
Okay. So personally, right, and I've always been someone, like I'm a lifelong learner, and I tell my team, I'm like, guys, there's a train that's coming, and we can either get on the train or get run over. Mm-hmm. So a couple of things. AI, a lot of it is going to swing people away from the internet, right? Because you can't trust the thing anymore, right? If I see a cat jumping off a roof and then turning into Superman and flying away, I can't really trust it anymore. So I feel like we're going to see a swing back to local media, and a lot of what we're seeing now is, Sony, they're building cameras that have authentication. And so you will know that was shot by a Sony camera on site somewhere.
Wow.
And so as you look at that shot of, somebody running a red light, it's not going to be something that I did with AI. It's going to be authenticated. And so we will see people trust the internet less. So when the internet first started, they didn't trust it. It took time, in 2000s, and then everyone began to get their news sources from people that spoke their language or spoke about the things they wanted.
Yeah.
And now more and more, you are going to trust that less and less because, again, I can make a cat fly and land on the moon.
Right.
And so a lot of the technology is pushing to that. But with AI, I think I know it's a tool, and it's a tool that I use. I don't turn off my brain. Right, it's important to continue to learn. I use ChatGPT, Copilot, but I don't let it dictate my life. And I think we can get into danger where we're letting it solve all our problems for us, because at the end of the day, the job of storytelling still needs a human mind behind it.
Yeah.
And the nuance of the niches, right? So if I am, I'm a 46-year-old male, and I'm in this industry, and this is what I like. Nobody's gonna be able to tell that story better than me, And so storytelling is still, what you did, we're still gonna need it, right?
Yeah.
The producing, we need storytellers. And now not having the need for a $3 million crew to do it, maybe you can just make a movie, and it's as long as you're telling the story correctly.
So you're telling me that the video that the president and the different prime ministers dancing together is not real? So
well, but again,
I love it.
But you start thinking, even as we had this big news that happened over the weekend, a lot of it was like, oh, it's staged, it's fake, it's this and that, and so where are you going to trust? And so again, I think we're going to see a big pullback into local media.
That's good. But we're going to keep talking about that, because I was going to ask you something about the, social media and TV, how you're going to be shooting. But we're going to take another break, and the School of Entertainment and Design Technology is your gateway to creative career. Whether your passion is film production, computer animation, graphic design, or the music business, we have the tools to help you succeed. Learn more at mdc.edu/SCDT, or give us a call at 305-237-1696. We're going to take another break, and we'll be back with the last segment. Don't go away.
En Miami-Dade College hay carreras en cualquier profesión. ¿Cuál es tu sueño? Somos cada vez más globales. Proteger nuestra comunidad. Puedes ser lo que quieras ser. En Miami-Dade College, todos tus sueños se harán realidad.
Welcome back. We're still joined by Bryan and Nicole, and this is the last segment. Before the break, I said that I was going to ask you a question about, and this goes back to the social media, because I'm always kind of confused, because in television we shoot horizontal, and obviously
Right now we shoot and sorry to cut you off, but even the technology now, so the AI can add the wings for you, right? So I take a picture of myself and it'll say, guess what's on the right or left? It can
Yeah.
do that. But a lot of the cameras now, with 4K and 8K, we'll have you in center, and so we can use it for 16 by 9 or 9 by 16.
Oh.
Sometimes we literally flip the camera on its side and we record it like that. So, look, the reality is there's been a shift to come watch me to I gotta go find where the audience is, and that's the reality. VIX, which is one of our subsidiaries, we're doing a bunch of micronovelas. We're doing 100 this year. And so we have made that shift. TelevisaUnivision, where I work, has been at the front of that. And it's great to see that transition and to be a part of it wherever we can.
Yeah, because I've seen some that they are like from China, and they're well done. Their scripts are very good. I didn't know that Bix was using that same model, and it keeps you watching, and it's just the phone.
We were talking about the segment times, right? That.
Oh,
our-
yeah. We were
our
talking about that.
attention spans, yeah, they're just not.
Yeah.
there.
Oh yeah, attention span is something that is. They say that a goldfish has more attention span than a person, and I did that research because I was studying about social media, and I learned that I was like, okay, that's true, because if you don't get the person or the whoever is watching something on the phone, in the five seconds they're gone.
Yeah,
They're
that's
gone.
why storytelling is so important at the end of the day. I think that's like really at the heart of what we do. In both for me, like not just like when we talk about brands, that's also at the heart of the story. Like the stories that we're telling are really important.
Yeah, and in your case, the social media is something that either can help or can bring down
A brand.
a brand, and sometimes because of AI and all this stuff, you got to be careful when somebody says something, and then like years ago they used to, I think it was something with GameStop. They say to buy the stock, and then everybody went, and it was kind of crazy. So how do you guys deal with something like that, where you don't know if it's real or not real, and obviously the brand is taking a hit?
I can't speak on behalf of the brands because they're really managing that. I'm really at the heart of like bringing in content.
Yeah, you're in the middle.
on the
You're
side.
the middle person.
Yeah, I'm the middle person, so I'm gonna.
So
do that one, yeah.
so again, it's authentication, right? Is this, because again, we can't trust everything that's out there, right? We never totally could, but more than ever. So it's authenticating where that came from, and I came from a news background. It's just look for other sources, right? So if I see the cat flying off to the moon, I'm gonna go look at another source. I'm like, is there a cat flying to the moon? And I'll just, but that's also critical thinking, and I think that's something that has been lost a little bit by society. So we gotta put our critical thinking hats.
Yeah, I like the one the dog is saying "cafe, cafe," and then they start dancing.
Yeah.
It's funny because the stuff that they create there, I was doing my own blog and stuff like that, and I knew how to keep it under a minute because if not, people not gonna watch it. But I mean, I see more and more. There's more AI doing all this stuff, like like I said, the president and the other prime minister dancing together and stuff like that, and I get a laugh about it, because I'm like, how creative these people are. I'm sure they didn't even study, film or television, and they're coming up with this stuff.
Yeah.
There was one years ago, and it was a dog, where the person add the voiceover, like if the dog was talking. It was amazing because he did it how the dog in the real video, which is the same video, is not AI. He did it according to how the dog was opening
lips,
the
yeah,
mouth,
yeah.
and it was funny. It was amazing. So, but now, what would TelevisaUnivision is going to do in the future to address? Because now it's not only TV, so you have the social media. How you are going to be able to incorporate all that?
So we're already doing it. I mean, before Nicole left, but we integrated social media is a part of every show we do now. And even on the tent poles, we have live streams that are dedicated. They'll have people before they get on stage or when they come off the stage. They do multicast, so we're doing over the air, we're on streaming, we're on VIX, we're on YouTube, and the aggregate is what gets the numbers. I don't know if you can.
Yeah, no, I think thinking from a strategic perspective, we started thinking from it from a different lens than just TV, right? How are we going to really connect with the audiences where they are, like Bryan mentioned? So they started doing streams that were 4 hours long. The shows ended up being 3, so they were there before and they were there after the fact, connecting with them and giving them that behind the scenes look. Talk about how we were saying, don't break the magic, and now we're in it, right? Because people really do want to see those real-time reactions. They want to know what happens when the person steps off the stage, what happens behind that. And even from a social media perspective, I worked really closely with the person that was leading. She actually fell under my team. She was leading the strategy for all of our award shows, right? So how do we really connect with the brands of the artists to tell the story that we want to tell? All of us have a very specific north. We're all telling the same story. So how do we contribute to that? I think that's also another way that we were implementing those strategies across social media.
And when doing that behind the scenes, you will use the phones or you use cameras? Because you have the Osmo now,
Yeah, it depends. I mean, so we now have a team that has stood, we spent a little bit of money, bought some cameras that are not $100,000 pedestals like Billy was talking about earlier. But yeah, you have to make it less expensive. Sometimes it's just use somebody's phone.
Yeah, especially when you're on the go, right? You're capturing things that are happening instantly and bringing that real-time feel to the audience. So that it makes sense that sometimes you're just walking, you're in front of the stage or you're behind the scenes or behind the stage, and that does help bring a little of that behind the scenes lens to the audience at home.
Yeah, which reminds me that I tell some people, I said, when I was working over there, obviously we didn't have cell phones, and they obviously didn't take good pictures at that time. But I was able to get some pictures with some of the artists, like Salma Hayek one time, Edward James Olmo. But the person had to have the camera. Nowadays, I would have, like I told you before, I met Shakira before she was starting. And now I don't have proof to show that I met her, and now everybody has a phone. So everybody's taking pictures behind the scenes. And I know you guys posted on the platforms, and that way, like you say, you're promoting more and more and more. And like Premio Lo Nuestro, Billboard, I don't know which one.
We do Premio Lo Nuestro, we do. Premio Lo Nuestro, Premio Juventud, Latin Grammys.
The Grammys, all that stuff. So
we're doing more content than ever.
Yeah.
And music always is the one that attracts people. I know the
music pulls, sports, we're doing,
well.
News is just really pulling in a lot of numbers. We're doing numbers we haven't seen in 7-8 years.
Yeah. So soccer is a big thing, for Latin America. So I'm sure those numbers are going to be there. So and now
World Cup's coming.
World
Cup's coming with Telemundo has it on the Spanish side in the U.S. and then TelevisaUnivision has it in Mexico.
Oh wow!
So we have the rights in Mexico. So yeah, I mean. Again, we're creating more content than ever, and that's what I'm saying. We have to create content, and there's just different distribution points.
So Bryan and Nicole, thank you for being here today. My time is up, but I just want to thank you. And like I said, say hi to everybody at Univision, my alma mater. That's what I call my alma mater.
Same here. And listen, I learned a lot.
You learn a lot at Univision.
Yeah, you learn a lot, and there's friends for life. I will tell you that.
Yeah, it's true. So anyway, the School of Entertainment and Design Technology is your gateway to a creative career. Whether your passion is film production, computer animation, graphic design, or the music business, we have the tools to help you succeed. Learn more at mdc.edu/SEDT or give us a call at 305-237-1696. That concludes this episode of Conversando a Fondo. You can catch up on all past episodes by visiting our YouTube channel at youtube.com/MDC-TV or by simply scanning the QR code on your screen. Be sure to subscribe to receive notifications about new episodes of this and other MDC-TV programs. I'm Tony Leal. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next episode of Conversando a Fondo. Until then, have a great day.